Okay, good evening. We're going to get started here. This is a meeting of the Brattleboro Development Review Board. I've got to make sure my machine is recording here. This is January 21st, about 7:05. The first order of business is to review and approve our minutes from the last meeting, which was December 15th. Have a motion on that?
So moved.
Okay, second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion of the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so I don't know how many of you people have attended a DRB meeting, but I give opening remarks at every single one. Some of you I recognize and have heard this before, and I apologize. At the DRB, we hear applications for land development in the town of Brattleboro and appeals of zoning administrator decisions. Procedurally, the Development Review Board operates on the record. Broadly, this means that we take a clear record of testimony from the applicant and any interested parties, and then issue a written decision with our findings. Applicants and members of the public should be aware that as we are on the record, this is your opportunity to comment on and provide evidence relating to any application. In the event our decision is appealed to the Environmental Court, the court will not take or consider additional testimony at its hearing, but will look at evidence from our hearing, the regulations, and determine if the evidence supports the findings and decisions of this board. Only interested persons that participate in this proceeding may appeal a decision made by the board, so I strongly encourage all of you to speak up at the hearing. As we are on the record, we're going to ask that you affirm that your testimony would be truthful. That's going under oath. So, would the applicants or anyone who thinks they may wish to speak to an application, please raise your right hand, and I'm going to swear you in. And just because you do this doesn't mean you have to talk. It just means that your evidence is under oath and considered part of the record.
You better stand, Kurt.
Okay. Do you hereby swear or affirm that the evidence you'll give in the cause under consideration will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under the pains and penalties of perjury?
I do.
Okay. Now, you can have a seat. If I didn't take your oath and you change your mind and you want to speak, it's hard for me to see every single person in the room, so please remind me, because to get on the record, you need to be testifying under oath. Applications require a majority vote of the full board to succeed. That's 4 votes out of 7. If we do not have a full board present to hear your application, then we will consider a request to continue your application to the next public meeting. On that note, we have 4 people here tonight. I understand 2 additional board members are willing to review video of any of the hearings tonight to participate in the decision, so you'd have up to 6 votes. After taking testimony, the board will close the public hearing and may vote on your application. The board will issue a written decision within 45 days of the close of the hearing. While we may vote on an application, it is the written decision that controls any timeline for appeal. It should be noted that the town of Brattleboro is a party with an interest in land development applications. The town does not have a special status before this board. Documents provided to the board by the town planning department, town attorney, or other town departments will be considered in exactly the same way as information from the applicant and all other interested parties. So, Mr. Bannon, can you confirm that our meeting's been properly warned?
Yes, it has.
Okay. Are there any conflicts of interest or ex parte communications for any of the applications tonight? I have a conflict of interest for application 2014-173, that's ZB Properties. And Mr. Bushy is going to chair that application because our vice chair is away on business.
I have on 2014-152.
What's that?
2014-152.
So with that,
So
we'll...
is Mr. Goon.
Yeah, I do as well.
Oh, okay. So we have two conflicts of interest on 2014-152. Jacob Lewin and Joe Bushy. Any ex parte communications? Okay. Now, at the risk of sounding like a school teacher, I'll send you gentlemen out, and we'll start with 2014-152.
You gonna go there now?
Yeah. That's Atlantic Security Corporation. If you'd like to take the table, please. Now, I think we should talk about procedure first. Obviously, you have two live bodies in front of you, a potential for two other commissioners to hear the hearing, but not be here to participate with you. And I know at the last hearing, we had a similar situation, and the applicant requested a continuance. I understand that since that time, an engineer for the applicant has confirmed that there are no utilities underlying the fill that is the subject of the whole application before us, and that erosion controls are in place. So those two elements that were, I suppose, of concern last time are no longer at issue. I'd like to ask if you want to continue again, but I'd also like to ask, or perhaps suggest to you that given that the utility issue and the erosion issue are now, at least in my view, nullified, it seems to me that if the applicant chose at this time to request site plan review, I think the only element that we can review at this time, or that we can review that's relevant, is landscaping. And I don't know if the applicant has any interest in that. I simply offer that to make you aware of the state of affairs if that was a path you folks wanted to go down. Now, with that long introduction, pardon my long-windedness, Attorney Hasselbach?
Yes, I would like to be heard on the matter. We would like to not have a situation where there are people deciding the appeal who are not present, because those people might have comments or want clarification. We'd like a chance to be able to address them, and if they're nodding or they're shaking their head, we might want to be able to see if there's things that need to be clarified. So I think the personal presence in our particular case is significant, especially since we do have a lot of evidence that we'd like to offer, a lot of legal points to make. So we would respectfully suggest that in our case it would not be appropriate to have a hearing where there are people who are not present to hear our arguments and our testimony. We think that the live presentation is very significant
Sure.
in our case. So that's why we would respectfully ask that we not go forward with having people review it by video.
Okay. That's fine. Do you want to make a motion to continue the application?
Yep, sure, that's fine.
Okay.
Except, I have one question first, though. We have on our agenda, and it's probably in the paperwork, the word appeal of zoning, and I haven't heard that word from you. This is an appeal of a zoning determination, or not?
It's an appeal of a violation notice.
An appeal of a
Yes.
violation, I'm sorry, that's what I meant.
It's an appeal on whether a site plan approval is actually required.
Right, and we're leaving that undetermined.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes, I just like to make it clear that we have a lot of different legal points to make, but I don't think it's ripe at this time, so I just reserve all my rights on those things. And we would ask that the board consider the case when everybody can be present.
Sure. Somebody want to make the motion?
Yeah, I would, I motion that 2014-152 Atlantic Security Corporation be continued until what date?
What is it, Brian, February
February 18th would be the February meeting.
18th?
Yep.
February 18th, 2015.
I guess I'll second that. So, we can't really vote now, but, well, I suppose we have to. And we'll count on the others for the vote. So, all those in favor? Aye. And one more point of information, and this is only to be informative and not suggestive. If the applicant, upon hearing from me that the only thing we'd end up reviewing on site plan is landscaping, wishes to file a site plan and get to the next meeting, the deadline for that would be January 23rd, or 2 days from today. So,
Thank you for your advice. We'll take all these matters under consideration.
okay, thank you very much. Have a nice night. Okay, the next application is 2014-173, that's ZB Properties, and I have to leave for that one.
So Brian, as you've advised me on this hearing, you said that there is an abutter or adjacent lawsuit looming and that the applicant is asking for,
No, the lawyer of the person who's bringing suit has asked that we continue the matter. I would ask that as people have come out to be heard, the board consider taking testimony.
do you want to start with them first and let them go through their whole presentation?
to-
Or do you want to make some comments,
Yep.
Gordon?
Yes, Mr.
First?
Chairman, and you were not privy because you were in the hall before, but
Sorry.
the previous applicant, I would use the same reasoning that the fact that we are going to have to rely on people that are taking testimony by videotape, that we feel that the importance of our particular situation and the way that it appears to be coming convoluted by a lawsuit that may or may not be legitimate, that we would prefer to ask for a continuance.
For a full board?
Yes, sir.
Right. So, do we want to take these folks, do you want to hear what these folks have to say, or do we want to ask these folks to come back again?
I think generally if an applicant has asked for a continuance, then,
We're done?
yeah.
Can we hear anything anyone has to say that's here? If anyone wants to speak to this?
I think you should ask if the applicant would object to.
Would you object to hear anything that anyone has to say while they're here now, or do you want to hold the whole thing off until you come back?
And again, Mr. Chairman, all due respect, I'm confused a little bit that if a person were to say something tonight, whether
Right.
it would then be part, we want a full hearing.
Yeah, you want the
And if
record.
a
You want it
person
all on
makes
the
a
record.
comment tonight,
Yeah.
it's not on the record, they can, I want them to come back and have everyone have
You're
their
right.
day to speak and say whatever they'd like to speak, but
How many people are in here to speak to this? Are you all, when would we continue to, Brian?
February 18th.
Are any of you unable to come back on February 18th? Or would you all be able to come back for the 18th? Assuming that's when this is postponed to? Are you able to come back for the 18th?
we can come back for the 18th, and I would like to just remind the body that we're asking for the continuance because we're the applicant.
Right.
It sounds like we were going to be circumvented anyway by the attorney for a neighbor, so if anyone is inconvenienced by coming back, it wasn't totally by us.
Right, gotcha. No, it's duly noted.
Joe, it might be worthwhile just to point out to everybody that the board does accept written testimony if people are unable to attend.
Right, you can submit written comments, and how would they submit those, directly to you?
They can submit them to me, and I'll pass them on to the board members.
Does that work for you folks out there? I realize you were disappointed, you wanted to come and testify tonight, but this is gonna have to be at least postponed until the 18th.
Yes.
Okay. Okay?
Can I just ask a question? If, under what circumstances will it be continued again? I mean, I don't want to show up at the 18th and find we go through the same crap again. So is there some way we know ahead of time before we do this, whether it's going to, is it based on the?
Well, it'll be warned
Board
again.
of what we're continuing?
Won't it?
It won't be rewarned because it's being continued to a date certain, but you can contact me before the meeting to see if anybody has made a request. The board isn't obligated to offer a continuance if it's been requested. I think the attorney for the neighbor realizes that they have to put a justification to any further request for a continuance.
Right,
It's, at this point, I believe the suit has just been made.
right. And in light of this, and now comes the applicant asking for a continuation, so, to want the full board, to say the least, so. Either way, they'll have a right to be heard on the 18th, correct?
Yes.
Okay, regardless of the actions of the abutter and the abutter's attorney, or, in other words, I'm not sure if that's what he's asking or not, but is there a potential that the looming situation could delay it even further?
Only if the board were to allow it to, but
So, Mr. Chairman, I just want to make it clear that we're prepared to go forward tonight. It's the fact that we want the full board here. The fact that a neighbor has a legitimate or illegitimate lawsuits, we're ready to go forward tonight.
Notwithstanding for you tonight, right?
Right.
Okay. Kurt, did you have a question?
Yeah, I wondered if there isn't, in light of my neighbor, Mr. Pratt's question, an obligation of the board, a definite obligation of the board to continue because of lack of quorum. Is there no consideration for quorum?
We have a
Well,
quorum.
we have a quorum, and we have other members that are able to view the meeting afterwards on video to weigh in their vote. And as the opening remarks say, whatever takes place here in the meeting, 45 days from now is when the decision truly is issued. And as has happened in the past, once other members view the thing, that what happens here may change after they view
So the
it.
quorum isn't determined until after other members of the board view the videotape?
Say that again?
The quorum isn't determined until after members of the board view, the absent members view the videotape?
I
You
don't,
know now whether you have a...
that's not right.
yeah, that's not quite right. The quorum to have a meeting is that you have to have a majority of the board at the meeting, and the majority of the board is at tonight's meeting, although one member is right now has a conflict and has stepped out. So that's the quorum, and that's why the board can actually do business tonight.
So the
even
quorum
though-
included the Mr. Valenti who left at that time, or
Yes, that's
two others
correct.
who left?
Yeah. However, the decision also needs to be done by a majority vote. And that's anybody on the board who's reviewed and heard all the evidence that's been presented. That can be the folks who are present physically, or those who have viewed the tapes and reviewed all the written materials after
Right.
the fact.
So the quorum to hear this application would include those two members that are absent that would subsequently view the videotape and make comment or vote accordingly.
And it also includes the people who are momentarily in absentia because of their conflict of interest?
Well, if I understand Brian right, that's what constitutes the quorum that allows this meeting to take place. But he is recused from this application, this hearing, because he has a conflict with something to do with one of the applicants or the other. Does that answer your question?
I'm confused. I don't see, I'm not clear about whether the people who exclude, who recuse themselves are still considered counted in the quorum.
No, not for this hearing. Not for this hearing. There are 3 present and 2 that are absent that will hear this.
Okay, so the previous case.
So those 5 would be the ones that would hear this application. If it were heard now. They're asking for a continuation so that hopefully more can hear it in the future.
Thank you, I understand now. Mr.
Super, thank you. Good?
And then for the record, Mr. Chairman, I forgot to say, I'm Gordon, even though it's known, I'm Gordon Bristol. This is Steve Saluzny. We're the co-owners through
Thank you.
CP Properties. But
Thank you.
So you have it on the record.
Good? We'll close this hearing. Good enough. We'll see you on the
Thank you.
18th.
Sorry.
Yeah, thank you. Move and
Do we need a
second.
motion to table?
Do we need a motion to,
Yes.
well,
I motion to continue this to February
18th?
18th, is it?
Yes, that's correct.
18th.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Those opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
James? Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, so that, that's right.
This is getting, being pretty serious.
That's right.
I know. I know.
I think
That one, get a person or two. And you can issue to double.
Worth a shot. Did you call the next application? or
No, I
something?
didn't.
Okay.
No.
The next application is going to be WE90 Technology. We received correspondence from Craig Miskovich, who's the attorney for WE90, requesting that the hearing scheduled tonight be continued to February 18th. It's a new month. Does anybody have any objection to that? No? Anybody out there? No. So let's have a motion.
Motion to continue 2014-179 to February 18th.
Okay? Second?
Second?
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. The next application is 2014-183, Strolling with the Heifers. Okay, could you please tell us about your project?
Sure. We would like to add a shed to the side of the building, which will alleviate our going up and down to the basement to bring chairs and tables for all the events that we have at the River Garden.
Okay.
So the shed will store the tables and chairs.
Carried a few up and down.
Oh, you've carried a few.
So there's no interior space here, it's outside with
Yes.
like something to
Yes.
block the rain and elements?
Mm-hmm.
Any lighting?
Nope.
Are you gonna use it for bikes or anything like that, bike parking?
No.
Okay.
The entrance, you will be able to enter the shed from inside the building. In the back of the River Garden, there's some windows next to the back door. So that's where our contractor, John Brunel, who's sorry he can't be here, he's on vacation, is going to have a door there.
I see, so that door is gonna be new,
Yes.
and you'll be able to access it right from the inside? Okay. What is
You
the,
won't be able to access it from the outside. It's just
Okay.
from the inside.
what will the finish look like on the outside?
It's going to be shingles, and it's going to match the building with green trim, as is now.
Okay. And when you say shingles, you mean the wall shingles, the shakes?
The shakes, excuse me, yeah. So it's going to look like what the building is now.
Okay.
It will be decorative.
I know that pedestrians sometimes travel from what I'm gonna call the Hooker Dunham Alley, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
To the deck on the back there.
And that's not going to disturb it. Did you receive the maps for this and so forth?
Yes, it's on the back
Oh,
of
okay.
your application.
Is this the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
Well, I was just curious about how much room there's going to be for pedestrians once the thing is built.
There's going to be plenty for them to walk,
Like 2 people side by side?
more than that.
More than that?
There's going to be 3 feet between the
Okay.
banister and the shed.
Okay. It's presently what, like 6, maybe?
It's kind of peculiar because the river garden makes a turn. So at one end, it's the same. It's not going to be, it's up to where the building is.
Oh, I see. So what you might call the bottleneck is just going to be extended a little bit?
Yes.
Okay. So the back of this actually runs parallel with the back along the deck?
There's room, it's not exactly to the end, but there is still going to be an existing deck with an egress
Okay.
of 3 feet.
Okay. Okay.
So it's going to, the deck will still be there and there'll still be visible deck.
Okay. Other questions from the commissioners?
Yeah, I'll just.
Commissioners, sorry, wrong board.
Is what?
I called you commissioners, the wrong board.
Oh, sorry.
From my fellow members.
We were alerted to and have a reference to minutes from about 15 years ago, talking about the intention of the building to be open front to back. But looking at what you're doing, I don't see any significant, anything's been significantly impeded as far as, have you seen that?
Well, we've only owned it for about a year.
Oh, okay.
So-
It was, I'm not, it was brought to our attention that minutes from May 1st, 2000, at a development review board review,
I'll give you my copy.
there was, we were told the intention was that the view from the sidewalk to the trees in the back would remain open. That was sort of the point of.
But they're still remaining open.
Yes, it is. That's,
Okay.
I'm
Oh,
only
okay.
sort of acknowledging that
Sure.
we addressed it.
Oh, okay.
I don't see any issue arising from what you did or plan to do.
Basically, what happens right now, there are, like the Brattleboro Music Center and organizations like that that are using it in the evening for rehearsals. Aged population, it's difficult for people to go up and down and get chairs and tables.
Yeah.
So this is what we're trying to make it easier. And anonymous donors providing some funds for this. That's where we're able to do that.
One dimension you did not provide, I'll take an assumption it's normal, but what's the height of the shed?
I'm trying to see if John included that in here.
There's no elevation on there, really.
I just
If I'm
meant
not
the-
mistaken, the height of the building that it's adjacent to back there, though, is very tall. It's 2 stories tall.
Right.
So
I-
that shed couldn't possibly be as tall as
No,
the-
no, it's not. And I can provide some other,
So it's a normal height, 8 or 10 feet or something.
yes.
All right,
If you would like to see what John drew here, I can.
all right, I'll take a quick peek.
There's going to be no impact, Ms. Munzing, on the garbage removal?
No. I'm just trying to see some other, oh, he also drew another roof plan.
Okay.
You can look at that.
And you said it's not heated or cooled, it's just
No.
there?
Mhm.
This is your copy of
Okay.
that. I can tell the difference between John and Jimmy's writing.
Any other questions from the board?
And that's how the roof is, and that's how it's gonna jog out, stick out. So that notch right there, that notch in that roof drawing there is the notch where that thing extends past where the block building wraps
Right,
around that corner to the
exactly.
sliding doors.
And the asphalt shingles on the roof also will deter any snow gliding.
Gotcha. So the roof's gonna slope away from the tall building? That stuff will just drop on what's left of the edge of that deck right
Yes.
there and be shoveled off from there?
Yes,
The shed, where will the shed will access from the inside only?
yes.
Gotcha. No outside access from
No.
the deck from that?
No, no windows.
Gotcha.
Anything like that.
The shingles are actually vinyl?
I think so.
No, the roof shingles wouldn't be vinyl.
No, the roof shingles are not. They're asphalt.
What do I look, I'm looking, Joe, look at the,
You mean the siding, you mean
The
the
side,
siding.
the side,
Yeah,
is that what I
okay.
meant?
You said shingles, I
oh,
thought.
oh, oh.
Shakes.
Shakes, I meant, I'm sorry.
Members of the board satisfied?
Yeah.
Are there any members of the public who wish to comment on this application?
Yes.
I have to swear you in, you weren't here, but at the beginning of every meeting, because we're on the record, anybody who wants to give testimony has to go under oath. And so that the people who are watching this on TV can hear, if you could just come up to the microphone. So first, I'm going to administer the oath here. I'm going to say the oath and you just, oh, no, sorry. It's a little bit late at night. Do you hereby swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in the cause under consideration will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under the pains and penalties of perjury?
Yes.
Okay, could you just say who you are and where your property is, and then...
My name's Neil Senior, and I'm a friend of Kate Wilkinson, who owns Renaissance Bar and Jewelry, which is an abutting property.
Okay.
I've got some questions.
The way we have you been through one of these before? The way we generally do it is the questions are directed to us,
Sure.
and then we inquire of the applicant.
Fair.
So please.
Okay. So, one question is the roof, it sounds like it's a shed roof. I mean, it's not on the drawing, so we're not quite sure, but if it's a shed roof sloping away from the front.
Is that more of a hip roof, Joe?
I'm going to give him...
Yeah, it looks like, you wanna see this?
I have to...
Yeah, where's the other one? Those two.
So, so it looks as if the roof slopes back into the building that's attached to it, plus, it said horizontal at the top, and then slopes away from the building, is that correct?
It does not slope towards the building. It slopes away from the building.
Just looking at this.
I can't tell which one you...
Can I leave the microphone?
Yes, yes. Over here, these mics will pick you up.
It looks like, I mean, that looks like, I'm reading this as that's the building. It's-
No,
That's
I
not.
think that this is the building in here, and this is the alleyway,
All right.
I believe.
So, the obvious question is, what impact is this going to have on the drainage? With water coming off that roof, which currently goes through the deck, what impact is that drainage going to have on the foundation of Renaissance Fine Jewelry?
Where does the water, let me ask you this, where does the water from your roof currently go?
It goes down to the deck right now, and this doesn't seem to be any problem. According to my builder, the asphalt shingles, there won't be any extra load of water or anything like that. It'll be the same. In fact, the snow won't just slide down because of the shingles that he's using.
Okay.
So it's not going to be any different than in the past.
So my question concerns rainwater.
Go ahead.
Well,
Are you just clarifying?
Snow's fair enough, it's a stable, but the question would be, is there going to be rainwater that's going to accumulate off that roof and slide towards the foundation of Renaissance Fine Jewelry?
So, Do
This
I
is-
understand correctly that the path for the rain is either the deck or the alley?
It's going to be the same as it is right now. There's
Right.
not going to be any difference or any added drainage or anything like that
Okay.
as previously.
And when the water comes off, the alley's paved, right?
Mhm.
When the water comes off the deck side, will it will it make contact with the deck before it can get down anywhere
Yes.
else? Okay. Okay.
Because it's 3 feet.
Right. 3 feet before you would get
And there's also
past
some
that.
drainage there as well, drainage halls, from what I understand.
Okay.
That patio area out there, is that the patio that is from the edge of your deck goes over to what was Berman's building there? That seems to be bowled a little bit, if you will, and has like a drain in the center of it that
Yes.
drops down underneath and
Yes.
goes down to
That's correct.
by the railroad tracks
That's
or something
that's
like
correct.
that.
Where's the drain?
It's on
Because you-
the
It's kinda
Hooker
in the
Dunham, it's the
center.
property of the Hooker Dunham.
It's-
That cement pad
Where is it?
belongs to
Out here
Berman.
in this is a pad, this is like a cement pad out there, and then
Oh, I
there's
see.
it ends there and it's a complete drop off, and that water goes through the center of that pad. There's a straight down drain and a drop out face drain that goes down there. I know this because I used to shovel that years ago. so.
Okay. So I understand, I think that the drain is in the center of like where the stage is set up on the big
Mhm.
open paved area, is that right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Would it be reasonable to ask that there be drainage on the shed to make sure that nothing
Yes.
happens there?
What kind of thing are you envisioning?
Just guttering with a drain leads away. I mean, the problem with roots, as you know, is they accumulate water, they're concentrated, and there's a larger amount going laterally than vertically. It's just great if there was no problem.
And to be clear, the only water that you're worried about is the water that goes off the deck side, right?
Off the roof, yeah, sure, absolutely.
But the other two sides of it,
No problem.
okay.
Well, I'm confused about what you just said. When you said off the deck side, you're talking, there's 3 sides to that thing right there.
Talking this way.
For the ease of simplification, let's say east, south, and west.
Talking about
So you're
east.
concerned about what's falling off
The south side.
the south side, not the east side, okay? He's concerned
Oh.
about what's likely, and in fact, in reality, you're concerned, if I'm hearing you right, about what you perceive as falling off the west side, which is the side that goes directly, in other words, of that little gambrel sort of thing. And that, I was thinking about that, and so to that extent, I'm curious, what separates that shed wall, the westerly wall of that storage shed to be constructed from the dumpster area? I don't remember exactly. Is there a block wall?
No.
Or anything that separates that? Is that just
No.
open? Cause I remember I used to shovel in there where that dumpster was,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a dumpster, like a 3-yard dumpster in the middle, and there were trash cans lined up on the side of
That's
that
right.
dumpster, right? So, and then it seemed like it was wood that wrapped around.
Yes.
So there's really nothing there that separates that. So right now, without that shed even being there, where's that water going?
Straight vertically, I'm imagining. and not through
But
the
it's
deck.
but when you say through the deck, does what I'm not clear on is, does the cement pad that's out there in the middle, does that extend under the deck to the concrete wall of the block building that is the River Garden?
I can't
you
answer
know?
that.
No idea.
I don't recall either.
There's never been any problems.
Right. I see all the water drain. What I observe out there is everything that I would guess comes off that roof in any way, whether it's into Caitlin's dumpster area or near that deck or anything, goes off and into that cement space and heads for the river.
Well, we just like that to continue.
And so would we, and I'm sure she would too. And I'm just curious, what of the fact that this thing has a roof and just it redirects some of that over there, that's still going to be landing somewhere where
Seems like
it
it's
comes
on.
out onto the cement pad and follows the same path. If they put a gutter there, that will cause even greater focus of that. That'll take all that water from that whole thing and put it into one spot. Then where will that go?
Over the bank, I thought.
That would, and then plumbed, but then that sort of water stuff, that becomes then a freeze hazard in this climate. So that, you know, gutters are a tough thing to manage in the freezing weather.
Sure, I understand.
You might consider putting a condition on an approval that would say that rainwater or stormwater falling off the roof would have to continue to move away from the wall of Renaissance fine jewelry and towards the railroad tracks.
Okay.
And however they achieve that.
Was there, yeah, because I'm sure they could figure out a way to get to do that, even if it meant changing the contour of that roof. There was no emotional bonding to that format of that roof, was there? I
No.
mean, as opposed to it being three sides instead of maybe one side flat shed where everything went out
Right.
this way, instead of even trying to encourage any to go into that, if that's what they're worried about, into the dumpster area.
I feel that John Brunel is an
Yeah.
experienced builder who's, in fact,
Yeah, I
you can
think
see
we
from
have
his
to-
drawings, he thought this through very carefully.
Yeah.
I can say nothing but the best about him. I've worked with him for years and years. He's built other structures for me with roofs, and 18 years, 6 years, so forth. I've never had an issue with anything that John has taken under his belt as a project. So I have to trust that the same will happen in this situation. He's an excellent he's an excellent builder.
Okay. Mr. Senior, correct? Does that sound okay?
That sounds totally fine, I just wanted to just make sure it doesn't become a problem.
Are there other issues?
Yeah, the one other issue is the current use of this construction is a storage shed. So that then raises a question, if this construction gets built, and when it gets built, under this permitting process, because I don't know this, are people able to change the use of the structure?
They'd have to come back.
And then we would, the county would be notified that there would be change of use intention of some sort.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, with that in mind, Ms. Munzing, do you have any objection to us adding a condition that rainwater continue to direct rain either towards the train tracks or the pad with the drainage on it? I mean, do you think there's any reason that can't happen easily?
No, it's fine, I guess.
Okay. So I'd suggest someone make a motion to approve application
2014-183.
Thank you, Joe. 2014-183 with that aforementioned condition.
So moved.
Second.
Okay?
I just have one question.
Yes.
And I should address it to you.
Sure.
On a personal note, I'm not understanding, Renaissance is all the way on the other side, and we're talking here. I don't even understand how that can affect or disturb, we have to address to them,
No, it's okay.
that situation.
I mean, the
Because it's
reason-
set back all the way here, and we're talking over here, so I'm just not following the concern even.
It may be that this condition is entirely unnecessary. The only thing that it's meant to address is if water heads directly westerly towards the Renaissance building and does not go in the existing drain on the pad.
Okay.
From my view of the drawing and hearing Joe, who has some expertise, discuss that pad and the drain, I think there's a strong probability this won't actually affect your plan.
Right.
It just protects Renaissance in the
Sure.
event, or the abutter in the event that something
I don't-
unexpected leads water that westerly direction.
Can I make a comment?
Yes, yes,
The
just,
application that we got did not include the roof line.
right.
So, and we unfortunately have not had an opportunity to discuss with Wally. this
Oh, I understand.
So this is all brand new information, we just want to be, and we understand, but Renaissance is the abutting, although it's way out in the distance, it is the abutting landowner. We just want to be absolutely sure that there's no adverse impact. In the future, it'd be great if we could have these discussions in advance and see the entire plan.
And I would like to say, I didn't think that it would even be an issue because the Renaissance building, I apologize, I saw it as very far. That wouldn't even affect your view or anything. So I didn't even think to bring it up to you. I apologize if I should have. Okay.
That's why we try to keep a cordial atmosphere around here. Sometimes it's
There was
helpful.
no
and-
intention
and-
whatsoever.
That's okay. Everything gets fleshed out, and I think that this can work out fine. So, anything else from discussion? Okay, let's have a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
Since I've never been through this process, now we wait for your,
The written decision.
okay.
You'll get a written decision, and if you have any questions, you can call Brian up at the administrator's office as to what you or Brunel can or can't do.
Okay.
And he will guide you.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Thank you.
Vinyl.
It says vinyl shakes, if you notice.
The strolling of the heifers. Vinyl.
They didn't have to cut down the tree to make the wooden shakes.
No
Okay.
discussion about the mahogany deck.
Well, yeah, let's move on. The next application is 2014-184, First Choice Communications. I'm guessing that's you. Thank you for being patient. I always feel bad for the last out of six
No worries.
applications, but actually it can be much worse. So, please tell us about your project.
So we installed a solar array on our garage at 51 Marlborough Road, which is a cold storage and vehicle garage, 4-bay, 4-bay basically garage.
Is that behind Ash or behind what was the
It's
appliance store there?
it's
whatever?
behind Central Appliance.
Gotcha.
It's John Williams'
John's
old
old
place.
place?
Correct.
Yeah, gotcha.
So the application is to install vented louvers for wet flood proofing because of the improved value on the property.
On the beachfront property.
On the garage, correct.
Right. On the beachfront garage.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So Brian, we've had a comment now from someone from the state indicating that wet floodproofing is appropriate for this building.
Yes, that's correct, because it's a vehicle storage building.
Okay. Let's see. That was really the only thing I wanted to get in the record. Does anybody have any questions?
We do have to confirm that there's no sewer or water in the building.
Correct. No sewer or water in the building.
Yeah. Is there anything else there, Brian, that I missed?
The state wanted to just see updated elevation certificate and site plan using the most recent maps.
Right.
Which I've asked SV to bring forward, and I've waiting to hear back from Peter Bomeg.
Okay.
And it should be noted that this was originally warned as potentially being a variance, but the state said a variance is not required in this case.
Okay. So you need new elevations, and what was the other thing, Brian?
A site plan with the delineated floodway boundary,
A site plan?
with the delineated floodway boundary.
Oh, okay.
Is that, and that new river corridor too, do they have to reflect that as well? No, because there's no, wasn't there Act 250 on this place originally? Is that the trigger?
Yeah, that would be the trigger. I'm not aware of an Act 250 permit for
Huh.
these properties.
I didn't know if Pasco or whatever it was, Pasquale or Pescio or whatever, ever got that.
I've never seen an Act 250 permit
Huh.
for that.
Well, that's good.
I don't think it would be a material change in any case.
Yeah, right.
Because it's a substantial improvement, not a new structure.
Other questions? May I take this as a no, or are you guys still
good.
No,
mulling it
I'm
over?
good.
I'm good.
Okay. So, I would suggest that someone make a motion approving application 2014-184, provided that a new site plan is provided with updated elevations and a delineated floodway border, and requiring the modified flood certificate. Is that right, Brian?
Elevation certificate, yeah.
So moved.
Excuse me.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No? Okay, well, we took a while to get to you, but
That's
we
all right.
got you out of here pretty quick.
Sounds good, thank you.
Go have some supper.
Appreciate it.
Have a nice night.
You too.
Does anybody want to discuss any business before we close up shop here?
Can we make another pitch to the media for applicants?
Yes. To those who, watching at home, have made it through, wow, less than an hour of Developmental Review Board.
That's a pitch.
If you have ever said to yourself, boy,
That
I
looks
wish
like
I could
fun."
have a voice in applications to, it's a lot easier to deliver if you guys aren't laughing. If you've ever thought you might want to have a voice on the board that decides whether applications are appropriate in light of the zoning regulations in town or the other laws that govern development, we have, Brian, 1 space for regular and 3 for alternates?
Yes, that's correct.
A total of 4 spaces. And am I correct that the regular would serve out the current term and be reappointed in July, or is this a 3-year seat?
Let's serve out Brian's term, David's term, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I think you're right, Joe.
Yeah, you'd finish out whatever David's term was
Okay.
as a regular.
So
And
the
then,
regular is
in
not
addition for
as long a commitment as the other seats, and I think David was done in July.
No, it was a brand new seat.
He started last July?
He started this is,
Oh, because he was an alternate before, that's right.
Right.
yep.
Okay. So it's a 2.5-year commitment rather than a 3.
And then of course in July we'll be looking for who's done next.
Right.
Yeah. So
But it is a fairly interesting board if you want to get to know the property in Brattleboro. You will learn extensive history by sitting next to Mr. Joe Bushy, who has gone over every property in Brattleboro with a fine-tooth comb and a shovel, in some cases apparently.
lawnmower.
And it is actually a really good way to get involved with the changes in Brattleboro that usually cannot be undone once they are made. And in addition to those lofty policy implications that you can have an effect on, we have a standing offer for 1 gallon of Walpole Creamery ice cream for the next person who joins this committee. I will buy it. I think that's legal as far as I know.
Flavor's optional.
You can choose the flavor. It'll be a gallon of whatever you want, because
I'd make it to the next 2 people that sign up,
well,
I want go
you wanna
big
buy-
or
you
go
wanna buy
home.
the second? Well, okay, we'll do it to the next 2. That's fine. But having a shortage of people on the DRB is not something that we enjoy. And the more voices on this board, the more input from the community on the applications, and the more people who can hear the conversation that occurs when somebody wants to develop or change their property. Am I going on too long?
No, it's, probably long enough. It's time to say goodbye.
Okay. And we end our meetings promptly before 8 o'clock once in a while.
Yeah.
Occasionally.
Occasionally. Well, this is one of them.
Right.
So I'll hear a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.